And thank you very much for watching Smart 24 TV, where we drive your business. My name is Anthony, and you're watching Financial Markets. And definitely, thank you very much for choosing to watch the #1 show concerning investment within the financial markets in East Africa, in the continent as Africa, and the globe as well. And of course, at this show, we mainly look into investments and saving, how we can use our money to make more money and definitely get some return on our savings. And one way we do that is looking at the stock market, looking at the debt market, derivatives, options, and everything concerning financial markets. Now, you can hit us up on our social media platforms. That is on our Twitter, that is at Smart24 TV. On YouTube, we have a live stream at Smart24 TV Live. You can also catch us on GoTV channel 394 and DSTV channel 372 every weekday, Monday to Friday, 10:30 to 12:30 p.m. My name is Anthony, your host, and let's drive this business. Now, a few days ago, the National Social Security Fund, which is the pension scheme, a national pension scheme here in Uganda, mandated by the government in 1985 to save on behalf of workers, be it casual workers, be it formally employed workers or civil servants, in order to save for retirement. It declared an interest of 9% on the returns on those investments for all the savers with the fund. And definitely this was done in the presence of the director, that is the Mr. Director, that is Mr. Byaruhanga Richard, and many other stakeholders who are present at this event. And this is a very significant day when it comes to this NSSF pension scheme, because of course people look forward to always hearing from the directors on their investments, how their savings have been used in order to get some return. Now, like many other pension schemes, the scheme is regulated by the Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority, UBRA, as well as we're looking at also the Capital Markets Authority in there, and definitely the government of Uganda. And now, this 9% interest is going to be given out to the share people who have actually been investing with the scheme, and this amount of money is almost about 405 billion Ugandan shillings that is going to be issued out. But how does NSSF make this money? And definitely NSSF, like any other investor, and this is exactly what we advise our viewers, our viewers, to become investors within the different segments of financial markets and other things as well. Now, the pension scheme has dedicated itself to investing in at least 4 asset classes. #1, they do invest in fixed incomes. Fixed incomes are definitely given out to commercial banks, for example, and individuals who are looking at borrowing for a certain period of time and returning this money on an interest. And these fixed incomes are quite a very lucrative investment. And this is their #1 asset class that the National Social Security Fund is investing in. The second other investment or asset class that the fund looks forward to is the equities market. And the equities market is what we call the stock market here. And definitely they do invest in the local, that is the Uganda Securities Exchange equities, as well as the regional, that is the Nairobi Stock Exchange mainly. And these investments are done responsibly by experts who are, of course, well trained in order to invest money and manage assets very well. And so the National Social Security Fund is definitely getting an interest from this asset class known as the equities. The other asset class that the fund looks at is the debt market. And yes, the debt market is a very well-known market here in Uganda, with the government of Uganda issuing treasury bonds, treasury bills and treasury bonds through the Bank of Uganda. And this is done definitely by, of course, inviting the public for an auction, and then definitely these instruments are issued. And NSSF is one of those bigger investors that are, of course, participating in the debt market here in Uganda and in East Africa as a whole. The other market is definitely, the other actually asset class is the properties, and this is evidenced by the recently commissioned houses that have been constructed through the NSSF fund. And these properties are going to be rented out to different individuals. They're going to be sold out to different individuals. And this is going to also come with a return. And this is going to be given back also to investors. This is the way NSSF works. And those are the main 4 asset classes that the fund looks at. Of course, there could be others, but those are the main 4 asset classes that the National Social Security Fund looks at. And this fund definitely has a return because it has been able to invest wisely in all these asset classes and over the time accumulated an interest which it declares. However, this is a much lower interest than for the last financial year, that is 2020-2021, because in the last financial year we had an over 12.15% interest rate on the return, of course, of investments there for the savers. But this year we're seeing a decline because of definitely the beleaguered economy and, of course, recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic and so many other problems, inflation, that have, of course, harmed the investments. That is looking at, for example, the equities. The equities also witnessed a significant decline there in performance over the last 1 year. And so because of all this, we are seeing a decline in the performance or in the interest rate that was declared. But regardless, there is an interest, and that is the beauty of investment. At least it's better than nothing. Half a loaf is better than none. And you're looking at other people who have put that money in a box. Yes, they have done a good thing, at least to save, but it's not good enough because the money has lost value. That is number one, because by the time you open this box, what this money could purchase at the time of saving is not the same thing it could purchase at the time of breaking that box. So still the fund is able to at least give back to the savers a bit of interest. And this is not just a bit. 9% is a good interest. I'm telling you, it's a good interest rate. And not many businesses could return that if at all they were to invest that money, for example, in business. And so we congratulate the National Social Security Fund savers there. And we advise the rest of us to be able to join the fund and also be able to save money for retirement. It is very unfortunate for you to come at the end of your working days, at the end of your youthful age, and the only thing you have is nothing. You don't have a piece of land, you don't have a house, you're still doing, paid jobs. Of course, that is not entirely sometimes in your control, but sometimes you can do something to prepare for that time. And here I'm talking to the young people, fellow young people. We should start saving for our retirement as early as possible. And this fund makes this possible. The National Social Security Fund is one of those well-established funds and applauded not only here in Uganda, but in the region, East Africa, and on the continent. It's one of those bodies that stand out when it comes to fund management for the savers for retirement. And so this should teach us a lesson to be able to put money aside for the future, money aside for retirement. Because trust me, no matter how strong you are at the moment, time will come and you will have to retire. What are you going to retire with? And financial markets definitely give you an opportunity to just do that. If you have a pension scheme, sometimes people have pension schemes at work, some pension schemes are private pension schemes. We have a parliamentary pension scheme for members of parliament and those that are affiliated to the Parliament of Uganda. All these schemes have an aim of getting you to become one who can actually retire peacefully, retire into your farm, you're retiring into your own house, and so many other benefits that could come with this money. Remember, the more you keep money dormant and docile, the more it loses value. And that's what we want to change here as Financial Markets. So kudos there to NSSF and all the savers that have been able to save with NSSF. And definitely, we hope to see more people save and, of course, get you a little return. About NSSF still, earlier this quarter, the fund introduced something very, very, very important and something that could actually attract more people to save with the fund. Now, this was when, of course, the regulations were adjusted in order for us to be able to access 50% of our savings. If you've been saving with NSSF for the last 11 or 10 years, more than 10 years, you can access 50% of your savings for retirement and use them as collateral for accessing a mortgage loan or a home loan in order to either construct, renovate, or rebuild a house. And so these are all benefits that are coming in with time. And so these, for example, you've been saving and you have a total of about 100 million, you can access 50 million shillings and use that as collateral, all right, for you to access a mortgage loan. So you can actually construct your house way before retirement. How beautiful is that? So all these benefits will come if you decide to become part of the scheme or some sort of scheme. Remember, a scheme is very easy to begin. You need to approach the regulators. You need to have a trust deed. You need to have a trust board member. Of course, you have a board with trustees. You need to have a fund manager who will be able to manage the funds. You need to have a custodian, which is usually a commercial bank, and a few other documentations that come with the pension scheme. And of course, we've had people here on the show before from the Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority, and they have advised on how to start a pension scheme, basically aimed at adding value to the members' savings in, of course, as regards their retirement, to see that they get some return on that later on when they decide to retire. Of course, these are some of the slight benefits that I'm just mentioning, but there's so many good things that could come from this. And the aim here is to use our money very efficiently while we still have the energy to wake up and go to work, so that later on, when we don't have as much strength, we can look back and be proud and definitely raise our heads. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that is one story that has been trending this week. And of course, as it's a Friday, we usually want to wind up the business and look at how the week has moved in terms of, what are the top stories, and also looking at the market's performances themselves. One other event that stood out was the Housing Finance Bank inauguration of their portal, for a securities portal that will enable you to access debt instruments like treasury bonds and treasury bills via your phone or via the internet. And this was done at Mestil Hotel on Monday, the 27th, actually Tuesday, the 28th of September. And so after Housing Finance Bank, because it is one of the primary dealers when it comes to the treasury bonds and treasury bills, they have initiated an app which you can use to actually access treasury bills and treasury bonds 24 hours, 7 days a week. And something probably you should as well look out for there from Housing Finance Bank. Remember, we have 8 primary dealers, including Standard Chartered Bank, including UBA, including Absa Bank, Bank of Baroda, Centenary Bank, We also have Housing Finance Bank, as already mentioned, and a couple of others, 8 of them that primarily deal in the issuance or on the secondary market activity of the treasury bonds and treasury bills. And these, of course, are the ones who actually approach the Bank of Uganda. When you want to lend government, either in the long term or in the short term, you might not be able to do it yourself. You might have to make a step and go ahead and, of course, get through your primary dealer. And these primary dealers are innovating every now and then. Now, like we've seen Housing Finance Bank coming out with a portal that could help you access these treasury bills and treasury bonds on the secondary market. And remember, for these markets, we have the primary as well and the secondary. And on the primary, we are looking at issuing these instruments for the first time, and this is directly either to the primary dealers or to individual investors, that is competitive investors and non-competitive investors with over 200 million plus. Those are the competitive investors, and the non-competitive investors from 100,000 to over 200 million. These are able to go for the auctioning of these instruments. And if you want to know where the auctioning takes place, it takes place at Bank of Uganda. When it takes place, definitely is you need to get to newspapers and look out for that bid notice. Or you can visit the website of Bank of Uganda to know when the next auction is going to be. And you also participate and get to enjoy some of the privileges that many of these people are enjoying. Away from all that, as we wind up Friday, looking at the stock market performances here in East Africa, well, Kenya, things are not so good with slight declines in performance after a very promising shift in the performance. Of course, in the recent few days, we've been seeing Kenya come back very strongly, especially after William Ruto was declared officially the president of the Republic of Kenya. We are seeing that these markets were returning to sanity after a very long time of losing and looking at a year-to-date loss of over 31 points. But we are seeing the trend still kind of decline within as we wind up the week, and the markets don't look as good there in Kenya. However, when we look at Uganda, the markets yesterday on Thursday, the 29th, were very good with the total all-share index appreciating by over 10.1 points. And this was a 0.81% increase in the points there at the all-share index. And of course, this was due to a very wonderful performance that was put up on the market. And we are seeing that we had 5 participants in the markets, that is yesterday. And they ended the day with 7 gainers. Impressively, they were no losers on the market yesterday. So that was a very kind of bullish market, and trading on the Uganda Securities Exchange ending with only gainers, and these were 7 of them. Now, when you look at the top gainers here, they were led by East African Breweries, who gained about 2.06%, and then they were followed by KCB. We had Nation Media Group, we had Jubilee Holdings Limited, we also had Kenya Airways coming in as one of the gainers here on the Uganda stock market. The top movers, unlike the gainers, the top movers were all domestic companies. We are talking about Uganda Clays, we have Cipla Quality Chemical Industries, we have Stanbic Bank, and a couple of others that were able to actually trade some volume. However, the local company index was maintained at over 271 points because there was no trading. Okay, there was trading for local companies, but there were no price movements for the local companies, meaning that there was a kind of static movement for the local companies here in Uganda. These are some of the statistics that we could pull out from yesterday's market performances. But remember, my friend, the stock market is for everyone. It doesn't matter where you come from or who you are. You can be one of the traders on the stock market here in Uganda. All you need to do simply is to visit the USE website, open yourself an account. That's the first step. You visit www.use.or.ug, and then you go on to the Easy Portal, that is USE Easy Portal, and get to log in, and definitely you will get access to these markets. If you want to buy securities, Altex East Africa, a private exchange here in East Africa, gives you a chance to be able to just do that. All you have to do is to dial *292#, and then that is using your MTN line, and then you will see definitely the options to either buy or sell a treasury bond or a treasury bill. And when you choose to buy, of course, you put the amount of money starting from 15,000 and above. You can even choose to learn more about the products. They have somewhere you can actually go to learn. Now you choose the range of years that the instrument you want to buy should have, and they will definitely get you that particular bond. And that is across East Africa, from Uganda, from Kenya, and Tanzania. And you're going to pay using your Momo Pay, that is mobile money, MTN, and definitely you will have that security with you. The markets at Altex East Africa open at 8:15 and close at 3:15. Altex East Africa, do something new. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a quick breather, and when we return, we talk a little bit more about the Ugandan stock market, looking at some of these top movers and what we should be expecting, and definitely we got you covered. Stay with us. We'll be right back.